Hello, and welcome to an all-new episode of Press YYZ. We are the only Canadian gaming podcast that you can catch live on Twitch every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, as well as on podcast services and YouTube every Thursday. My name is AJ Fraser, and today I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Alexander Kozina.
Hey.
And our head of HR, Mr. Nathan McInerney.
Hi! I hope everybody's having a good day.
Yeah, me too. Now, before we get started, as a reminder that, as always, we here at Press YYZ stand against discrimination of any kind. While we appreciate however you choose to give back to our show, there is no better way to support us than by being excellent to each other. Elephant in the room. The picture behind me. Speaking of being excellent to each other. I think we need to, before we even get into housekeeping or anything, kind of get into a little bit of what's going on in the world and how we are currently feeling about it. In the event you were listening to this well into the future, this past week, Russia decided that this time for real, they would be invading the Ukraine. And it's incredibly shitty. Shitty world to be living in. We also have to acknowledge, I think, kind of that everybody's paying attention to Russia invading Ukraine when this happens in a lot of other places around the world a lot of the time as well. Like I think we as cisgender, straight, white men do also need to acknowledge that privilege that is currently also happening with regards to that whole situation.
I saw a Twitter thread a couple of days ago that kind of encapsulated what you're feeling right now. It was a guy being like, look at all these news headlines, and it's just like, this is a true attack on democracy. This is a kind of true, threat to the stability of world peace. And it's like, where were these headlines when so many of the other conflicts that have happened around the world over the past few years?
Yeah, like normally it's one of those things where, you might catch a headline or something like that. Oh, missiles in the Middle East struck this building and this happened or whatever, and then everybody carries on with their lives. War is shitty. All of this is shitty. I'm sorry it has to take something like this for me to change my background here. But I recognize my privilege in this moment with regards to that. But yeah, I think it goes without saying that I stand with Ukraine on this one. Fuck Vladimir Putin, fuck Bobby Kotick, but also fuck Vladimir Putin. Yeah, it's just kind of an overall shitty situation. Nathan, what are your thoughts? What's your take?
It's been a weird week. So I don't know if I was on the podcast when I said this last week. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Tell me if I did. But I was coming home the other night, and we had those dummies driving down the streets with the Canadian flags in their cars, honking like they're supporting the freedom or the freedom convoy. And those people piss me off right now. They'd already pissed me off. They piss me off more because in Ukraine and with what's going on in Ukraine, and specifically as well as Russia, protesters are being swept off the streets. That shows what is not real freedom.
Yeah.
And I'm so fed up with it. People can't pay attention to what's going on elsewhere and understand how good we have it. Specifically, the stuff in Ukraine is disturbing. The stuff in Russia, I feel bad for the people in Russia. It's like this is one madman who is trying to accomplish this, and I don't normally wish ill upon people, but it will wish ill upon Putin. So
I definitely think I forget who said it, but there's somebody. I think it was somebody of the Ukraine, like a Ukrainian diplomat of some sort, trying to like plead to the world um, to intervene more and get Russia to stop. But he said something along the lines of, if Putin wants to commit suicide, he should, rather than threatening nuclear war, he should do what the last guy did and lock himself in a bunker and do it the way the last guy did in 1945. And yeah, I kind of concur when an authoritarian political leader like Putin for years can get away with the mysterious disappearances of any and all opponents of his authority, and whoever, it's just so obvious, so blatantly obvious, but like without any like you need the smoking gun to be able to do anything about it. And I think unfortunately what it had to take was him literally invading the Ukraine, thinking it was going to be, a 1 to 2 day thing and everybody was just gonna whatever. But by the sounds of it, by the looks of it, the Ukrainians are strong. They're doing great, as well as they could be. Also, like, shout out to President Zelensky of the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Just however many years ago, he was basically just a stand-up comedian, and now he is, leading leading the defensive battle of the biggest defensive battle that we've really, I'm going to say that we've seen. But as I mentioned earlier, things like this have happened all over the world since. And you know given our position in the world, it's been very unfortunately easy to ignore. But he's doing absolutely fantastic, and he had that one great line where the US, I guess, had offered him transport out of the country, and he said, no, don't send me a taxi, send me ammunition, because he's gonna stay there and fight if it comes down to it for his country. And that's amazing.
Yeah, one political commentator that I was following on Twitter kind of pointed out, like, the thing about him is his years of experience as a comedian has definitely kind of prepped him as well as he could be prepped for a war like this, where like he does not have the muscle that Russia has. His forces are definitely uh, outnumbered and outgunned compared to the overbearing power of the Russian army that's bearing down on them. But his kind of years as experience as a comedian and entertainer
His
has
charisma.
exactly given him a charisma that is allowing him to kind of win not the physical war, but like the kind of war of the minds of the people that's going on. Not that I think it would be particularly difficult for him to win this war, even if he didn't come from that background.
Yeah. Yeah, so unless you guys have anything else to say on the issue specifically, I'm good to move on if you guys are. There's no easy way to transition to anything
No.
After this.
I did want to just very kind of briefly say, like, this, the conflict currently going on in the Ukraine, it doesn't exactly hit closely to home. But I did have a grandmother and a grandfather who both came from Slovenia, which is a former Soviet republic that fell to communism at the end of the Second World War. Nowadays, Slovenia, the current kind of political and geographical situation of the country is such that, like, if Russia should win the war and take over Ukraine, Slovenia isn't like even next on the chopping block or like the second next, but like there is, this sort of feeling of kind of kinship that I think I can kind of recognize in the people going on there and what they're kind of experiencing, even though it is, removed by quite a few generations of people and me and quite a few years. So my heart goes out to them.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, there's no easy way to transition or move forward. We're gonna talk a little bit more with regards to the gaming space, because this is a video game podcast, and just a couple of gaming related Ukraine stories before we move on fully. But a little bit of housekeeping first. Our YYZ reviewee of Unpacking will be next week. If you look on my Twitter feed, there's a good video of Rachel playing a little bit of it. I'm gonna see if I can rope her into sitting in my place instead while everybody talks about it, because we sat down to play it. It went by really quick. And I did a little bit of the clicking, but she did basically all of it. So, yeah, it was super fun.
And Rachel was great last time that she was on Press YYZ on the 12-hour extra live stream. So I'm really looking forward to having her back on and hearing what she has to think about the game.
Yeah, you almost lost your job. We almost brought her in for a minute.
I know, and yeah, I'm going to put that on the line again. I'm willing to do that. How it just worked out is I just told her that her and I have some homework to do, and so we sat down and the hours just melted away when we were playing it. So there's a little bit of a tease on how we thought and what we felt about it. Number 2 on our housekeeping list, Nathan, you're going to be streaming Lego Dimensions tomorrow. How's that going so far?
So last week we visited the world of Doctor Who and the Lego Ninjago world.
Ooh.
It was a lot of fun. So I've played this game before, but really until I get to the worlds, I can't remember what's next or what's coming up.
Yeah.
So it's like playing it fresh again in a lot of ways.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no. So it's a lot of fun. The fact that I've been in Lego Ninjago, the Doctor Who world, The Simpsons, and The Wizard of Oz just shows you how much depth this game has. So it's a lot of fun. Might be one of the best crossovers ever made.
I mean, yeah, by like not only like the crossover of Lego and video games, which has always been kind of pretty good for the most part, but taking all of those worlds and not just Harry Potter, not just Star Wars or what have you, and like really like there was a Jurassic Park one as well, wasn't there?
Yep, there's Jurassic Park characters. Portal.
Yeah,
they got Portal 2.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
I will say it is a little bit. I was kind of sitting here and remarking that like nowadays I feel like it is so much the norm that we expect all of these sort of crazy crossovers to happen, because games like Fortnite have crossover with every which franchise under the sun. But worth pointing out, this game came out before Fortnite and was doing all these crazy cross collabs well before it. So I feel like that's definitely worth something that nowadays that appreciation is kind of lost.
Yeah, for sure. And number 3, Nathan, you have a brand new Twitch channel. What's happening?
Well, okay, so maybe saying it's brand new isn't 100% correct, but
sure.
I've had this Twitch channel forever and just have done nothing with it because
I remember you tried to stream a little bit of Forza like a long time ago, like all on your own, like not on this channel, but like on your own.
Yeah, and that's what I did with it. And then I was like, nah, maybe it's not for me. And then really for the past year, I'd like to think I've been pretty consistent at almost every Thursday night streaming.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty solidly about that. And I've realized that with my wife working the early mornings she does, she's in bed at like 9 o'clock. Why aren't I streaming more?
Yeah.
So I don't want to clog up the Press YYZ channel with streaming more nights a week. So I'm going to be migrating and getting my own channel launched. I'm excited. I'm hoping you guys can follow. For everybody watching and listening, give me a follow. I want to boost my follower numbers up there. I'm still going to stream on Press YYZ on Thursday nights for a little while, but I think I will migrate over and then have us host me. Is that how that works? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can do
you
that.
have to do. You can't auto host anymore, but you could. Yeah, you would have to do it manually. But yeah, that's possible.
Okay. So if you still want to come watch me on Press YYZ, you can. If you don't want to come to my channel.
I have a question. Your Twitch
Yes.
channel, which by the way is twitch.tv/the_nmac. The last activity that you did on the channel, according to the header on it at the moment, is morning 10K on my treadmill. This is in the fitness and health category. Can we expect any more treadmill streams, albeit nightly treadmill streams?
Probably not. I do my running in the morning typically. Here's the honest truth. I wish I gotten this going earlier. I tried doing it and I had an issue with the camera I was using. It froze up when I was doing it. I've got it figured out now because I've been able to get the Lego cam working properly when I've done that setup, because it would be the same setup except the camera tripod and the phone pointing towards the treadmill. But we're like 2 weeks away from my feet being able to hit cement and actually run outside, which is my preferred method of running. So probably not. But when we come back to winter, or if it's raining, I might throw the treadmill on.
I really hope, by the way,
streaming there.
I really hope you're correct about it being 2 weeks, because this past week has seen so much snow, at least here in Montreal, so much snow. And I hope that this is just a fluke before the April showers come and melt everything away.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of treadmill, so the condo building that I'm living in, with all the restrictions loosening up with regards to COVID protocol and stuff, we now have free access to the gym of the building again.
Ooh, a guy.
And so today, I went and just got onto a treadmill myself and went for a really long walk on a bit of an incline.
Nice.
It was and I was going fast enough to like get my heart rate to like 140 and work up a bit of a sweat. So that was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I decided to try and do a little bit of an experiment because there isn't Wi-Fi in the gym itself, but in a neighboring amenity room, they call it the boardroom. There is just open Wi-Fi. And so I was like, okay. So I took my phone and my Razer Kishi down, and I attempted to play some Halo streaming with the Xbox cloud streaming, and it didn't quite go so well. Because I didn't even like last a full match or like get even like I barely like 10 seconds into the match because I was getting too focused in the game. I started walking slower, and the bit that you clip on yourself so that the treadmill stops if you fall.
Yep.
Got triggered and pulled out. Yeah, it pulled out. So
it should.
Yeah, as it should. And so I just decided, okay, you know what? Maybe I can't multitask on this treadmill just yet. So,
wait. I thought of something very funny to say. The treadmill's got good pull-out game.
Yep. Yeah, it was very sensitive and worked very well.
I'm the worst.
Yep. I'm glad you said it. All right, and that's going to do it for housekeeping. So let's get into what's new a little bit. Cozy, you finished Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, and not much else over the course of the past week. Nathan, I'm very sorry that I did not get a chance to finally check out Lego Dimensions myself. I composed a tweet earlier today in which I stated, hey, here are the 10 or so games that I want to work on over the course of the next 2 months. And I specifically put Lego Dimensions down in that tweet because I really want to commit to it so that we can both talk about the game a little bit. But yeah, nevertheless, I did beat all three main character paths in Birth by Sleep. I have not completed the final episode or the secret episode, which is unlocked by beating the final episode. I mean, not much to say about it. I still really enjoy that game and had a great time. Let me tell you, getting the platinum in Birth by Sleep is a tremendous grind. And it's a pretty fun, tremendous grind because combat in the Kingdom Hearts games is traditionally just a lot of fun, and in Birth by Sleep it's especially a lot of fun, with all the cool neat little mechanics and abilities you have that you can collect and pull off in it. But I've decided that I'm gonna from here on out just sort of milk this game over the course of the next couple of months instead of trying to make a beeline to getting that platinum, because it's going to take quite some time for me to do so. And yeah, that's all I have to say about Birth by Sleep, at least for now.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And then in this related to the Ukraine stuff, I put a news article in here, and I'm just going to read a little bit. So this is from the news article itself is from GameSpot. Cameron Koch. I apologize for butchering your name. Yeah, so the headline is, "This War of Mine dev is donating profits to Ukrainian Red Cross." So that means essentially if you buy the game This War of Mine on any platform, regardless, the developer is giving all of their profits away to the Ukrainian Red Cross. I also read separately that if you were to buy it on GOG, GOG would even donate their cut to the Ukrainian Red Cross as well. So I don't know how many more days are left. You might have until Friday, I think. February 24th, they posted that.
It's a little confusing because, yeah, they posted it on February 24th, but February, of course, famous for only having 28 days. So it still works out. It's still valid as of today.
Yeah, so as of today, as of Thursday the 3rd, and I guess till the Friday it would be, because that's about 7 days later. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this article here. After weeks of escalating tensions, the Russian invasion of neighboring Ukraine has begun. In response, the developer of the anti-war indie game This War of Mine will be donating profits to the Ukrainian Red Cross to help Ukrainian civilians caught in the crossfire. 11-Bit Studios, the developer of This War of Mine and Frostpunk, announced on Twitter that it stands against the Russian invasion, but words were not enough without a meaningful act. And that's why the studio will be directing all profits from the sales for This War of Mine over the next week to the Ukrainian Red Cross to directly support the video games of the victims of the war in Ukraine. And I'm just going to read the post that they put with the tweet from 11-Bit Studios here. 11-Bit Studios team statement. Today, Russian military forces attacked the free country of Ukraine, our neighbors. As a Polish game studio and the creators of globally recognized anti-war game This War of Mine, one that directly speaks about the suffering and misery of civilians who are affected by war, we'd like to hereby announce our company statement. We stand against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Just words would be empty without a meaningful act, though, and the timing is crucial. So the act is as follows. For the next 7 days, all profits from This War of Mine, all its DLCs on all stores and platforms, will go to a special fund. A week from now, this money will be donated to the Ukrainian Red Cross to directly support victims of war in the Ukraine. Let this message resonate with everything you know about this war and how war kills people, devastates their lives and homes. Let us, players and developers, together do everything we can to support victims of war in Ukraine. Sincerely, all the people of 11-Bit Studios. So, and they also have on here hashtag fuck the war, which I agree, fuck the war. Yeah, have you guys, either of you guys, ever played or seen any footage of this war of mine?
I'm aware of the game. I believe it was free on PS Plus at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
And so I'm
So
pretty
you
sure I
might already
it.
have it.
Yeah, I think I might have it in my collection as well for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been years since I've actually played it.
Mhm.
So it's definitely kind of a dark game. It's
Yeah.
very 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 difficult. Not very difficult, but like it's emotionally difficult and a little emotionally draining, but it's also difficult in terms of like gameplay, because like you start as like a character of some sort, and you have to essentially you're trying to survive. It's not a survival game, but like in this 2D structure, you're kind of like exploring like bombed out buildings, where there may or may not be like other survivors in there, and sometimes you got to talk to those other survivors and try to negotiate with them. If I remember correctly, there was one where I had to go get some food so that I could feed my children or whatever. And so I snuck into this building where I knew where I knew there was other people and living there. And you sneak around the area and try to like get in and out without being caught. And you overhear like the conversation that these other people are having, and you realize these are just two elderly people who did not ask for this war, or did not, want this or anything like that, and they are like doing their best to survive by sharing what little rations they have left. And you kind of have a choice to make. You could leave and risk, your children or whatever, like dying of hunger, or you could hold these elderly folk up and steal their food from them. There's a lot of choice in it. It's overall like a really really good, interesting concept, and it like really well portrays like kind of like to an extent the realities of warfare, and like the real fallout of it, and like what it means for the people war actually affects. Because it 9 times out of 10 it doesn't affect the people it needs to affect, who are the people on top making those poor decisions to even go to war. But it really affects the all of the normal people out there. So yeah, do you guys have any interest in playing it after like the little bit of footage we just saw and whatnot? Or
It's funny. Earlier in the first article that you went through from GameSpot,
yeah,
you mentioned how this developer was behind Frostpunk.
yeah,
I remember Frostpunk back in the day being kind of a cult indie hit, and I had not known that this studio was also responsible for that game. Knowing that they were responsible for Frostpunk has actually got me more interested in this game as well. Obviously, everything that you said
yeah,
sounds great, and I played the trailer a minute ago, and that looked great itself. But knowing that they also come from this legacy of, making these other great games like Frostpunk
yeah.
actually has got me kind of intrigued, to be honest.
Yeah, Frostpunk came out after, but in like similar ways that like Frostpunk kind of gets like emotionally dark with, you know, if you want when you're building your Frostpunk city, if you want your people to survive, you might have to enable a law that allows child labor, right? So, you know, it's about, they're really good at getting kind of like the balance between reality and morality in their gameplay, and it's you know, I think it's really affecting how they do it. What about you, Nathan?
This is one of those games where I guess I can give it a try. The dark subject matter really isn't my jam typically.
Yeah.
Which is why I haven't played it. And it's not that, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that I know isn't going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to play things like that sometimes.
That's fair. Totally fair. Yeah. Everybody is going through something different, and it's not always easy for anybody to put themselves in that mindset, right? Mm-hmm. Another thing I saw online about, I think it was a Reddit comment, like people were commenting on like some photos of like some of the devastation that's happening, and like people were like, oh man, I can't really look at that, you know, it's really hard for me. And it's just like, sometimes, like, I think this isn't an old joke, I promise, I think you, with your experience over the years, right, having seen a lot, like millennials have grown up and gone through like 3 or 4 world, like once in a lifetime world events, where bad shit fucking happens. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one of those that people who haven't experienced all that stuff, you know, if they have a hard time looking at that stuff, that's the stuff they need to be looking at.
Yeah.
So that it gets kind of ingrained in their head, like it's ingrained in our head. Like, no, this is the reality of the situation. So mm-hmm. that hopefully that can prevent more of that happening in the future. But I digress. Yeah, I don't know if there's much else to talk about. Go play this War of Mine. Go buy it before, you know, this thing is up. It's like, it's not on sale. It's just all the profits are going to a good cause, and they're going to help. They're going to help the real people on the ground who are being hurt by what's going on.
If you already, sorry, I was going to say too, if you already own it on PlayStation,
you can still
actually, it is on sale on PlayStation. It's $5.39.
Oh,
you
yeah?
can still buy it. Yeah, it's on sale for $5.39 on
I was
PlayStation
going to mention,
Store, yeah.
I remember that being a weird issue that PlayStation had for a very long time, where you couldn't purchase games that you had, quote unquote, for free via PlayStation Plus, but they fixed that like a few years back.
Yeah. I was just checking to see, because it talked about DLC, but I actually don't see any DLC whatsoever for
it. Okay, that's weird, because I know there is DLC on PC, which is where I played it, but
maybe it's. Oh wait, okay. So I think the console version probably included the DLC.
Oh, that would make sense.
When it came out, it probably launched on PS, because it says this War of Mine, the little ones. And that was the DLC, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what pushed me away from it. It was the children aspect.
Yeah, that's.
The children aspect was really hard.
Papa Bear Nathan, don't force it. But I would recommend, for $5, buy it. Mm-hmm. Then you have it for if and when you are ready.
Yep,
to play
that's
it.
Fair.
Maybe one day, like, as hard as it would be, like, your kids might have questions about, what does war really mean? Like, what is it? What is its purpose? And you can at the very least communicate without showing them like real bad pictures of like soldiers and stuff. Like you could theoretically communicate this sort of thing via something a little more palatable, like a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Video games are great.
Yep.
Yeah, they're definitely capable of doing things that other mediums can't always do very successfully. And I think this is an example of a game that manages to do just that, for showing the, as you said, atrocities of war.
Absolutely. All right. Once again, there's no real easy way to transition away from that sort of subject. But what do you guys say we get onto our topic of the show?
Before we do that, can you give me a solid 2 minutes so I can do a bathroom break?
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Can I talk about some wrestling news in the meantime?
Yes, you may. Let's talk wrestling. Go for it.
So AEW, Tony Khan's company, has just announced live on television that they have bought Ring of Honor.
What is Ring of Honor?
It's a small indie promotion.
Okay.
It was small. That's where people, I know you're not big into wrestling, but if you've heard of Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson or CM Punk or Samoa Joe.
CM Punk is a name that rings a bell.
They all started in Ring of Honor.
Okay.
And it's been going on for like 20 years. They've had financial struggles for a little while now. The pandemic really did a number on them.
I believe it.
So, and their wrestlers they uncontracted all their wrestlers.
Yeah.
So, so Tony Khan has just announced he is buying Ring of Honor, or has bought Ring of Honor. Which is kind of amazing, honestly. And this kind of solves a problem AEW has, because they've been bringing a lot of wrestlers on and don't have enough TV time to put all these wrestlers in. So,
I mean, I guess it's better than WWE getting them too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, WWE typically doesn't buy companies, but yeah, no, they've just been ruining everybody. Ironically, I'm about to buy their new video game because that's what I want to be streaming next week. But yeah, Ring of Honor now owned by the AEW group. So it's really interesting, and I'm curious to see what that looks like.
Well, good for those guys for being able to, at the very least, survive long enough with the economy the way it's been to be bought. So
yeah, I'm kind of surprised it happened like that. Oh, hey, Justin's in the chat. Hey, Justin. Yes, wrestling, the minor league. Yes, Ring of Honor. There's a lot of people who exist in today's wrestling, and they came up through Ring of Honor. And it's a cool little thing. One of the very first matches in Ring of Honor on their very first show was Christopher Daniels versus, at the time, Bryan Danielson, which is what he's known right now as. And they just did that match again.
Oh.
Because they are both currently contracted. So. Anyways, so sorry, that's my soapbox about wrestling. By the way, I'm going to be streaming WWE 2K22 a lot. So that's what you can look forward to on my streaming channel. On my Twitch channel, _NMAC. That and Forza.
You need to make us fight and see who comes out on top.
I could do something like that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Hell yeah.
I could put you and Rachel against each other.
Oh yeah, that doesn't happen enough. What? All right. Now I guess it's time to for real head on to our topic of the show. So this week we're gonna be playing a little bit of a game called Rankem. You may have heard of it before. And with the recent news of the new Pokemon games, Scarlet and Violet, they released some images of some new starters, some gameplay footage and whatnot of what it's going to look like. But that got us kind of curious. Like, if we were to make a list and rank the best starter Pokemon, how would that list play out? Now, one fatal mistake that everybody has seemed to have, I don't know, put upon us or something like that. I don't know where I'm going with that. I tried to be too fancy. Yeah, it may have been a mistake to let me host this one, because that means I get to choose based on your suggestions.
Oh, I'm going to have some really good suggestions.
You better.
Do you remember, AJ, the last time that you hosted a game of Rankin? Because I was trying to rack my brain before this show, and I don't remember the last time that you specifically were the host on this. I know that Mitch has done it a lot. I've done it a lot.
It was probably in 2020 at some point. Because believe it or not, I haven't hosted too many actual episodes. I believe it because I know. But some of the ones that I did, there were like one or two games of Rankum where I definitely hosted. Yeah, so I forget all of the rules to Rankum that we had made up a long time ago. So I think something that we should do is just sort of make this one up as we kind of go along, or at least I will.
Okay.
Yeah,
be
and
the Calvin Ball of crappy podcast game shows.
We'll throw a couple out there. We'll see how we're feeling, and then we'll see if we can change it up a bit. If we have to. Depends on how on the Pokemon that you throw my way. So we're gonna rank the starters. I used to have a D20 on this desk, but I don't anymore. So hang on one sec.
Ooh, yawn.
Did you just say yawn, Nathan?
Yes. I yawned and then said yawn.
Okay. Were you concerned that people wouldn't hear your yawn on the podcast, and so you had to say yawn to make sure they would understand what you were doing?
I think it's more a habit, and I don't know why I do that. But yes, hey, just so you guys are aware, I did yawn.
Okay.
You're making me yawn now. Ugh.
It's contagious.
Yeah, even through the internet, apparently. Okay, so first things first.
I yawned just now.
Oh, good job. Cozy, I need you to pick a number between 1 and 20.
20.
Nathan, I need you to pick a number between 1 and 20.
19.
Okay. Come on.
You rolled 17.
17. Okay, so I guess that means, Nathan, you're up first.
As my son would say, that's a pro gamer move.
Yeah, and you nailed it. Good job. Price is right.
A surprise.
Good job.
Before we start talking about our favorite starter Pokemon, do you want to briefly mention the limits that we're going to be adhering to in terms of what starter Pokemon we can nominate?
So yeah, you can. So every Pokemon generation has had 3 main starters, but then there's been some of those offshoots, like Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, or Pokemon Yellow, where Pikachu or Eevee were also available. Now, the main starters is generally a water, a fire, and a grass type. I'm gonna say no limits on any of those starters. Bonuses are Pikachu and Eevee. Do you want to spend those right away? I'm gonna leave that up to you. Are they some of the best starters? Maybe. Maybe not. We will find out. We will get to the bottom of it. I think you have to remember You're speaking to me and my sensibilities on this list. So, Nathan,
Yes.
Cozy posted a list in the Discord. If you want to take a look at that, you have your starter picked out.
I've got my starter picked out.
Okay.
This is easy. I know lots of stuff, and
Okay.
I'm probably going to make a lot of stuff up at the same time.
All right. Tell me the first one.
So we are putting in at the number 1 position
Because there's
my
nothing else.
boy from Generation 1.
Oh.
Squirtle.
Whoa. Good start. Also, my first starter.
Yep, my first starter too. That's what I played when I got Pokemon Blue. He is the way to go. Water starters are the best. And Squirtle is the best of the water starters. He is super cool. He transforms into... Wait, are you, just to clarify your ranking, are you just going based upon their initial evolution or their what they can evolve into? Does that take into effect?
I think if whatever they evolve into is extra stupid, then that might play a factor. But for right now, this stage in the game,
yep,
not necessarily a factor.
Okay, so let's put it this way.
Sure.
Squirtle, super cool sunglasses.
Yeah.
That he gets to wear
Squirtle
around.
Squad.
Squirtle Squad. He's probably the most iconic starter, period. So, and yeah, he's super cool. He's cool. He wears cool sunglasses. I mean, don't you want to have somebody who wears cool sunglasses at the top of the list?
I mean, yes. But
See?
like when I remember when I was a kid, I didn't like wearing sunglasses because I put sunglasses on because they're supposed to block out the sunlight. Then you look at the sun and your eyes still burn. So they're not very effective at blocking.
Maybe you didn't have the
sun.
right type of sunglasses.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. Maybe also, I needed a welding mask. I don't know.
If Squirtle is a water type, does he even need sunglasses? Like, he should be immune to the heat of the sun's rays.
No, they dry him out. He needs them more.
Really?
Well, he's also wet and moist, so...
Yes.
I don't know. That feels like Gen 1 canon, back when actual animals lived in the world of Pokemon.
Yeah. So, anyway, Squirtle, number 1 with a bullet.
Squirtle is currently sitting at number 1. Oh, one thing, you know what? One thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the points around.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think of that beforehand. So I'm going to make similar to our Game of the Year list. That's how our points are going to work out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Good to know. Perfect. Cozy, what is your first starter that should be on this list?
You know, AJ, I thought that with Nathan picking Squirtle right off the bat, I would be incendiary and pick something that would go head to head with his water starter right off the bat. But I figured, you know what? Let's hold off on some of the more incendiary choices that I have in my pocket until later, and start off instead with an actual incendiary Pokemon, that being Cyndaquil from Gen 2. Cyndaquil, the fire type starter from Gen 2, the pre-evolved form of Quilava. He is a fire type, basically, I guess you could say like a mouse. I know that he's not a mouse, but unfortunately I'm having one of those brain fart like moments. An aardvark, an anteater.
Aardvark.
Any one of those like mouse-ish like animals that roam the countryside and very occasionally somehow dig into your kitchen basement. What I love about Cyndaquil is that he kind of has two different modes to him. He has his sort of cute and lovely little mode where there is no fire coming out of his back, and you can just sort of pet him and hold him and cradle him in your arms and treat him like the goodest little rat boy that he is. Or when you want to go all out, he can rear up the flames on the back of his body and show his true colors, and those true colors in this case being red, orange, and yellow, because he is on fire, baby.
He's literally on fire. Yeah, so Gen 2, the Gen 2 starters are actually something that holds a very special place in my heart. They weren't my first, but I definitely had a connection more with Gen 2 than I did anything that really kind of came after that. But for me personally, Cyndaquil is not the starter I would pick, personally. That's not to say he isn't, like, number 2 out of the 3 from that generation. Might even be number 2 if you combined Gen 1 and Gen 2, for me anyway. So right now he's going to have to stay. Cyndaquil is going to have to stay at number 2.
All right, then.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, we were naming a bunch of woodland animals before. He's a hedgehog. That's what he is. I don't know why it didn't immediately come to mind.
I mean,
does he go fast?
I guess the spiky fire kind of looks like a hedgehog, but the nose does not look like a hedgehog.
He's definitely, he's definitely a composite of different animals, but I specifically say hedgehog because of his spiky back. Like, clearly those
What
are
is Quilava? Yeah, Cyndaquil.
Oh, yeah, Quill.
Cyndaquil. That makes sense. Jesus Christ. That's like a Phoenix Down moment, like down feathers. Holy shit. Okay. It's still going to stay at 2, but good point.
Hey,
yeah, Nathan, I'm going to... Hey, you got to take what you can get. Nathan, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Okay, so I'm going to have to go with one of my favorite Pokemons.
Yep.
And this one is named... Wait, I want to make sure I say this right.
Oh, man.
Totodile.
Totodile.
Totally must be one of your favorite Pokemon if you can't even pronounce its name off the bat.
One of my favorites. It's very popular because it's got a cool V shape on the front of it, and V's for victory.
Yep, that's why
I don't know
popular.
If you know that. Yep, that's why it has it there, because it gets lots of victories. It also has 5 fingers, which means that it can grasp things. I assuming one of those fingers is opposable, like a thumb.
Possibly.
So that's very cool. This Pokemon's super cool because it's a crocodile and it will eat people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need somebody eaten, you can just put them in front of this Totodile and it will eat them.
Yep.
Yeah. So for these reasons, I feel like it should go number 1.
Interesting. I'm surprised you didn't even bring up, like, the beloved Steve Irwin.
Oh, I don't know if I wanted to go that far.
Well, I mean, he's a crocodile, so...
But he got eaten by a crocodile.
He didn't get eaten by a crocodile. He got stabbed by a...
Oh, wait, something poisonous. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a
stingray. Manta ray.
Yeah.
They made a really terrible joke in the South Park movie about it.
Yep. That happened.
Yeah.
So maybe I hinted at it a little bit earlier, but Cyndaquil not being my number 1 pick for that generation, there's really only 2 other options. It's either Chikorita or Totodile for that generation. So Totodile is definitely my number one for Generation 2. So it's definitely going above Cyndaquil. And I gotta say, because Generation 2 proved upon everything that Generation 1 was, it's got to go above Squirtle. So I don't know how to copy and paste out of these things, so I'm just going to try it.
It's all right. I'm not showing it on stream at the moment, so you can figure out everything you need to do, and I'll show it when you're ready.
That seemed to work. So Totodile is going to go up to number 1 for now. Sorry, Cozy.
Not a problem.
All right.
I'll make my comeback in due time.
Okay. Good luck.
I'm winning this.
We'll see.
I'm a Pokemon master.
Yep, you are. You got it. Cozy, what is your second pick?
My second pick is an extremely new addition to the Pokemon mythos. I am, of course, talking about the Water Duck starter introduced for the Gen 9 games, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, Quaxly. Mm-hmm. Now,
Quaxly.
Let's get this out of the way right off the bat. There have been a number of people on Twitter who have been pointing out how his hairdo very vaguely looks like Trump. The way I see it...
The guy looks like Trump. Like, he's based on Trump. There's no question about it. People have doctored it up. It looks like it.
Trunk. I mean, I'm not even upset that I mispronounced his name. That man can suck the wet fart out of Quaxly's duck ass. You know what I mean?
Okay. Whoa.
The way I see it...
Is this the second Pokemon that's designed to look like Trump? Wasn't there another one that
looked there was like
Trump?
You're referring to...
And from Sword and Shield.
You're referring to Gumshoes, which I don't really know what the situation is with that one. Like, it's kind of oddly uncanny in that Pokemon's case, but I also, like, I don't know, the Pokemon Company has gone on record saying this was, like, not an intentional comparison, but it's just weird.
It's too obvious. I don't...
Sorry.
No, I was just... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I see Trump in this duck.
Oh, have you seen the image? Wait,
you're gonna somebody's
If I can just say my piece on Quaxly before we
get
to
may. Go for it.
The comparisons and all that.
Talk to me about Quaxly.
Like, here's the thing. If you had told me that Quaxly was the variant of Trump from a dimension where everyone is ducks, and he's like the good Trump, effectively, his upbringing allowed him to become a good, upstanding individual that only is traveling to our dimension so that Trump can suck a wet fart out of his ass. Like, I believe you. This person, this Quaxly is just far too precious for us. He's far too precious for this world, which, again, further lends credence to my variant theory. And I think that we all need to drop to our knees and just appreciate this beautiful, feathered individual that Game Freak doth bequeathed unto us.
Honestly,
I can't find the image of him looking like Trump. It's there.
It's fine. We don't need to show it. We don't need to give that trunk any more exposure than he's already gotten over the years.
Yeah, no thanks. Out of the 3 new starters for Scarlet and Violet, a lot of people seem to pick whatever the cat's name is. Something Ito?
Yeah, Sprigatito.
Sprigatito.
Now,
Sprigatito?
I mean, there's the thing about Sprigatito is that there's just a lot more stuff with Sprigatito that you can riff on. Obviously, there's a whole thing about how Sprigatito inevitably is going to evolve into a starter that like looks way more humanoid than cat, and so that's led to a lot of interesting fan art. There's also the fact that it's a grass type Pokemon, and of course, grass, euphemism for weed. There's been a lot of other fan art that's been made of Sprigatito and its evolutions being weed themed or smoking weed
Of
or
course.
doing something with weed based paraphernalia.
Of course, the internet always has to ruin it. Yep.
I totally understand why it weirdly has become the one that people have riffed on the most. I'm going to say it. I think that Sprigatito's kind of a lame starter. We had a cat-based starter just 2 generations ago. We don't need to repeat it so soon.
I honestly agree. When it comes to Quaxley, I think he's actually going to go just above Cyndaquil on our list.
That's a good spot
So
for him.
right
I
below,
like it.
right below Squirtle. Yeah, I think that's a good fit for good old Quaxley.
I think you nailed
Mitch.
it there, AJ. You're doing really good.
I think
Careful.
so.
Hold on. I said Mitch. I meant
You
to say
said
Nathan.
Mitch.
Yeah, my mistake. Careful, Nathan.
Oof.
Quaxley could start sucking the wet fart out of Squirrel's ass if you're not careful.
Oh boy, it'd be a shame if that happened. All right, let's do one more here. Nathan,
Yes.
let's have one more starter from you at this point.
Okay, so for my next starter, sorry, I got to pull my list back up here. We're going to go with another one of my favorite Pokemons.
Okay.
This one is named Sobble.
Sobble. I was not expecting this one. Also, I gotta say, there's a real bias towards water-type Pokemon in this game of ranking. We've gotten Totodile, Squirtle, Quaxley.
Not possible.
Only.
Did we just discuss at the beginning that water are the best?
I don't recall saying that.
Yeah,
this is a fair and balanced list.
100%. So Sobble is one of my favorite Pokemons because he was my Pokemon that came along with my journey in Sword or Shield, one of the two, whichever one I played.
Yep.
He's a very cute water Pokemon. He kind of looks like a tadpole, which I think is super cool, which is what I think he's based on. And what I think is super cool is his actual... I know we said we wouldn't talk about the evolved forms a lot, but I really do think his evolved form Empoleon is super cool because he has like a gun that he uses with his fingers, but when he goes to Gigantamax, he's on a sniper thing way up high, and it's completely cool and different than any other Gigantamax Pokemon.
The Gigantamax is definitely pretty unique. We'll talk about his evolved forms later. We'll talk about them later.
He's not, he's like, he doesn't get bigger, but he gets this giant thing in a sniper rifle.
That's cool. I don't have any qualms with that.
Yeah, but Sobble himself still very cool, big eyes. Because who doesn't love those big eyes? Look at them. It's hard to say no to him.
He's called Sobble because he cries.
Yes. And yeah, he's a water Pokemon. That makes sense. Because here's the lore that you don't know.
Okay.
You want to hear the lore that you don't know?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
He has to cry regularly because if he doesn't, his eyes dry out. It's what keeps the moisture in the eyes. And if his eyes dry out, they just fall right out.
Oh, no.
It's really bad. Yeah, it is really bad. So from a lore perspective, you need to make sure that you do that.
Yeah.
Is this from Bulbapedia?
Yeah, he's writing it in now.
I mean, here's the thing. There's some pretty dark stuff in Pokemon. I would not put it past Game Freak to conceive a backstory like that for Sobble. Like, if you told me that was actually real, I would have believed it.
Wow. I have no idea if that is real. I don't know if that's an actual Pokedex entry or not. I did not play Sword and Shield. This was, unfortunately, one generation that I happened to skip.
I'm just going to say, do you want his eyes to fall out? If not, he should be at number 3 or higher.
Let me look at the list again. Yeah, but Quaxley though. That's a tough bet. Who wins in a Cozy? Who wins in a fight? Quaxley or Sobble? Just head to head.
I mean, you're basically asking me to decide where Nathan's thing goes, and I feel like that's a kind of betrayal of trust.
No, I'm asking you who wins in a. I'm asking you who wins in a fight. Quaxley or Sobble?
I feel like Quaxley might have access to like a larger move pool that includes like flying type moves because he's a duck Pokemon, and that might give him more opportunities to more directly hurt Sobble. But obviously, this is all speculative because we don't know what Quaxley's moveset will look like until the game's release.
True. And Sobble is frog. Right?
I think he's like a lizard because Empoleon is like clearly a lizard.
He's like a tadpole.
More of a tadpole?
He's a tadpole. That's what he looks like. He's a tadpole.
Oh, I'm thinking of Froakie for some reason. Yeah, he's... I don't know. Okay.
And you don't want his eyes to fall out.
I don't want his eyes to fall out, but...
Nope.
Yeah. I think he's got to go below Quaxley at this point. Like, Quaxley is still so full of mystery and still pure, where Sobble, not so much. So I'm going to move a Cyndaquil down. Nope, that was the wrong one. Sobble. I think I spelled that right. S-O-B-L-E?
2 B's.
2 B's. 2B, like from
Near Automata.
Near Automata?
Or Near Automata.
Okay. Cozy. How can we get you higher on this list? You got to give me a good starter.
It's funny you say that, AJ, because I think I cracked this list. Right now, the standings are as follow. At number 5, we have Cyndaquil. Number 4, we have Sobble. 3, Quaxley. 2, Squirtle. And 1, Totodile. It occurred to me the top 4 Pokemon on this list are all water-type Pokemon. All 4 of these water-type Pokemon are dominating Cyndaquil, a fire-type Pokemon. So
I didn't
how
notice that
do
before.
I get
That's
to
crazy.
the top of this list?
What?
I have to pull out a grass-type Pokemon because obviously grass beats water, which is why my next pick is probably my favorite grass-type Pokemon, Snivy, from Gen 5. Snivy is, of course, the grass-sake Pokemon. He has access to powerful and cool moves like Leafage and Bind, and I mean, just look at that guy. That is one smug-ass motherfucker. The kind of guy that would watch Quaxley suck the fart out of someone's wet ass and just sit there nodding and waving.
He is so smug. I bet he thinks he's going to get high up on this list. Interesting.
He kind of looks like a jerk.
Yeah, like he's like... So somebody who's like overconfident in their abilities to succeed at something, so they think they have the ultimate trap card in this Yu-Gi-Oh battle, and gonna banish everybody else to the Shadow Realm because of it.
No. I mean, Snivy's the kind of individual that only acts smug when he truly knows that he's won. He doesn't attempt to feign any sort of smugness if the game is still in deliberation. He is a wise grass snake Pokemon beyond his years.
Unfortunately, I don't think he was wise enough for this list.
Come on.
He's got to go at number 6.
This doesn't make any sense. You've disrupted
this is a good way to do this.
Listen, this
Pokemon.
The science has spoken. This is science.
But it's not. It's not the natural science of the Pokemon games.
It's science. Because think of it this way. everybody loves to pick fire because fire is cool. But what can beat fire? The water. Right? So if you want to beat everybody, you got to pick the water if you want to survive. But it's so rare for somebody to pick a grass because everybody picks fire. The logic is there. We just have to kind of pull it apart if we really want to like figure out what this list truly needs to be here.
Okay.
There's only there's a correct answer, and I think we're getting there. I think we're getting close to it. But who can say?
Okay.
Can say.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, so far, you know, we've given 3 and 3. For the next 2, I'm gonna try and get a little bit more specific. We're still gonna pick the starter that has to go on this list, but this time your pitch should actually be on their final evolutions. Not their mega evolutions, not their Gigantamax, but their final third evolution in their chain. Show me name the starter and tell me why its final evolution is better than even the other ones on this list. To change it up, Cozy, can you redeem yourself?
Oh,
How do we
I'm
do
so ready
this?
to go.
I think I can. You know what? I know that I kind of burned myself going with a grass type starter to defeat the dastardly water type starters that currently dominate this list, but as they say, second time's the charm. So
Yep.
let's talk about a little Pokemon by the name of Rowlet. Rowlet, of
Ooh.
course, introduced in Gen 7. He was one of the starters that you could be given in the Alola region. Now, Rowlet has always been very popular from day one. People loved him then.
I
People
like his
also
bow
loved
tie.
him in Pokemon Legends Arceus. He's one of those Pokemon that really is sort of kicked off and really just become quite the icon over the course of the past little while. But what's truly exceptional about Rowlet is that his final evolved form, the Decidueye, is real freaking cool. And not just real freaking cool in the Alola region, but real freaking cool in the Hisui region as well. In the Alolan region, Rowlet ultimately will evolve into Decidueye, which is a grass and ghost type Pokemon, which competitively actually gives him a bit of a nice edge because grass and flying, while an unusual type combination for a Pokemon starter, does put him quite disadvantaged typing wise to a lot of other types. Like, for example, ice type moves will do 4 times as much damage against him instead of 2 times as much damage. Decidueye becoming a grass and ghost type eliminates a lot of these added on weaknesses and gives him some cool new moves and stat bonuses to take advantage of with his ghost taping. And on top of that, he just looks real freaking cool. He is yet another evolved starter form that, you know, looks very kind of humanoid, but he manages to maintain enough of a bestial look that it kind of evens out. Meanwhile, Decidueye's form in the Hisui region is grass fighting type, so once again, gets rid of some of those pesky weaknesses that come with being part flying, and in exchange gains the fighting type and all sorts of cool stab moves that go hand in hand with that. For that reason, I think that Rowlet, the goodest of good boy owls, needs to be held in quite hooey consideration.
So I was sure going into this, I knew exactly how this list was going to shake up because, you know, I have some opinions, some good takes on how the world should end up, the Pokemon world should end up on this.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, you made quite the pitch. And Decidueye does look pretty cool. A grass ghost is an interesting concept. Grass fighting is another interesting concept. Depending on the region and I guess the era that he evolves in, that is a possibility. I think because we don't know what Quaxly's final evolution is going to be, I think he's got to go at number 3.
I mean, I'm happy that I'm making a little bit of progress. It feels so
You're doing
glacial.
good, Cozy.
It feels so glacial.
Yeah. So Rowlet, Rowlett, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
That is correct. Oh, only one T at the end.
Okay.
Sorry.
Perfect. Number 3 is Rowlet. So far, so good. Now, Nathan,
Yes.
while Cozy was talking, did you have a chance to do any research on the other final evolutions?
Yes. Oh, I know everything. I didn't need to do any research. I had this all ready to go.
Perfect. Just checking. Just making sure. Making sure we're all on the same page here.
So,
what is your suggestion?
my son would kill me if I didn't do this.
Okay.
So, we're going to put Piplup. I believe I'm saying
Ooh.
that right. This is one of his
Uh-huh.
favorite Pokemons. Piplup. But
Okay.
specifically, we are going to talk about its final form, Empoleon,
Ooh, it's a good choice.
which is obviously an emperor, like based on an emperor penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the Empoleon.
Yep.
What's really cool is that this is a water and steel type.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is that the water and the steel are constantly at war with each other. Because I don't know if you know this, but water and steel, do you know what happens when they go together?
They rust. The steel rusts.
The steel rusts 100%. And so Empoleon's molecules are constantly at war with each other.
Wow.
Trying to prevent rusting. And so what he has to do is regularly use this trident on his head. I don't know if you can see that trident. It's made of a special microfiber, which actually helps fix his molecules.
Wait, hold on.
So
you're saying his trident is not made out of steel as well?
No, it's a special microfiber.
Like a carbon fiber, like a steel carbon fiber or something.
I don't know
like
if
that.
that's canon.
Yes.
I don't know if that's canon.
So the special microfiber, it uses to clean its skin and basically prevent it from rusting. Because at any moment, it can completely rust out. And if you're in the water, that's bad because you're going to drown. This thing's going to sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
So, so it leads a very tragic life. At the same time, as it keeps itself from rusting, it's actually then able to turn this into something different, as it's able to channel that rust into its attacks and then give the rust to other Pokemon.
Okay.
So, yes, there's my impassioned pitch for Piplup via Empoleon or Empoleon.
I'll give you this. It was a pitch. Yeah. I don't know if you sold me.
Also, you'll make my son sad if you put Piplup low.
I don't. I could argue, given the ones that we have here, that he's at the very least like middle of the list. Not low, but middle. How's that sound? Good.
All right.
Great. I think he needs to go at just under Rowlet, number 4.
I'll take it.
Piplup will go to number 4. Where's the... There you are. Okay. So, currently, Nathan, you have 31 points, and Cozy, you currently have 21 points.
This is to be expected as I am a Pokemon master.
AJ,
Yeah, of course.
whatever you do in the
Yes.
last round, please convince Nathan to choose a Pokemon that is not water type.
I don't know. Is that within my power? Is that within my power?
It is within your power. Come on, do something.
Okay.
Okay.
Nathan,
Yes, that's me.
I want you to pick a number between 1 and 3.
1 and 3. I assume there's 3 Pokemon attached to this. Is one of them a water type Pokemon?
Perhaps.
Okay. I'm going to pick number 1.
Number 1. Okay. I need you to tell me why number 1, Bulbasaur, needs to be on this list.
Put him at the bottom. He doesn't. He's the worst.
Wow.
That was wow. Okay.
Such venom for Bulbasaur.
Put him at the bottom.
I mean, if you want the point, the 1 point, you could make an argument.
No, there is no making it. I need to stand by my credibility as a Pokemon master and a human being. And if I just said stuff about Bulbasaur that I didn't really believe to be true, I don't think that I'd be able to live with myself.
Okay.
I think there's an ethics here that needs to be represented. And Bulbasaur should be at the bottom of the list because he's just the worst.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay. Cozy. I'm going to have you it's not going to be as obvious the answer here. But I'm going to have you also pick a number between 1 and 3. And it can be 1 again if you want.
I'm going to go with 2.
With 2? I need you to tell me why Poplio should be on this list.
Poplio. Okay, interesting. So Poplio, of course, was the water starter introduced in Gen 7 alongside our buddy Rowlet. Poplio is interesting because when Poplio was first introduced along with Rowlet and the Fire Cat Pokemon, whose name eludes me, there were a lot of people that were not super down with Popplio's
Litten.
design.
Litten.
Litten, that's
It's
correct.
Litten. A true Pokemon master would know that.
There are like over 900 of them, Nathan. Cut me a little bit of slack, all right? Popplio. Not immediately
Popplio.
very popular because people thought that it just looked kind of weird. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think people didn't like him because of the vaguely clown-like motif that he has. A lot of people...
It's a little unsettling.
A lot of people don't love clowns. A lot of people are fearful of them, and I think that fearfulness kind of fed into the discourse of people not liking him. But lo and behold, I think that Popplio is actually a pretty solid starter in the kind of game itself. Alola is, of course, an island chain, unlike many of the other Pokemon regions, which are just a giant landmass. And so when you have a region that is like 90% water, who's going to be the most dominant? Why, it's going to be the water Pokemon like Popplio. On top of that, Popplio's final evolved form, Primarina, is quite the beaut. It definitely evokes, again, much like Decidueye, it's a great example of a Pokemon that leans a little bit more into that kind of anthropomorphic edge, but not so much that it just basically becomes a human with a human with like Pokemon-ish features. It still kind of maintains that kind of beastly edge that you would hope that all Pokemon would maintain. Overall, to me, Popplio is low-key real great. I think it got unfairly maligned at the time of its release, and I think that it stands above many of its peers in the Alola region, is a master of the seas and a master of its entire region.
Yeah, I identify with a lot of the things you said there. I, for one, have a soft spot in my heart for Popplio. I think Popplio got the short end of a stick. I think the kind of clown-looking stuff is like pretty lame. And I also kind of think like the final evolution of Primarina is kind of lame as well. But Popplio just seems like a good dude. Popplio's a good, sure, there could be you could talk about, what is it? The Litten, the
Fire Cat.
Fire Cat that evolves into that Smash character or whatever.
Incineroar.
Yeah.
Incineroar, that's it. But Popplio, better than a
How about me pulling all these things out?
cat. Huh?
How about
Yeah,
me
look
pulling
at
all
you
these
go.
Pokemon
I
names
knew.
out?
Good job.
I knew Incineroar right off the bat as well. You just said it first. You don't have to take.
But you didn't know Litten. Of
Again,
course.
over
Of course,
900 Pokemon.
So,
I think the very obvious Pokemon fan is very obvious here.
Oh,
yeah.
really? Do you know who Ursaring evolves into, Nathan?
Ursaring?
Yeah.
Ursa Major Ring.
Ooh, close but no cigar. It's Ursaluna.
Oh, that wasn't that far.
Yeah, not that far off. Good job, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so Popplio, I don't think is as cool as your argument for Rowlet.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, I think Popplio, because Popplio's Popplio, needs to go right below Rowlet. And I think that's where he will find his home on this list.
I tried my best.
Did anybody notice this list is really water heavy?
No.
What?
Nobody else noticed it.
the-
You're the
the-
first one to notice it, Nathan. You might truly be the Pokemon master you
Listen.
claim to be.
The science checks out here.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so far, currently, we're almost done. From the bottom to the top, we've got Bulbasaur, as submitted by Nathan. Snivy, or Snivy, as submitted by Cozy. Cyndaquil, submitted by Cozy. Sobble, submitted by Nathan. Cozy said Quaxley. Nathan said Piplup. Cozy said Poplio. Cozy said Rowlet. Nathan said Squirtle. And Nathan said Totodile. So, of course, there are a lot more of the three main starters that we didn't get to. However, for this final round, we need to figure out where Pikachu's going and where Eevee's going. Now,
Ooh.
Cozy, you are currently in second place.
Mhm.
So I need you to pick odd or even.
Even.
This is like a heads or tails. Even. Okay. So I'm going to roll a die. And if it's uneven, you get to pick. If it lands on an odd number, Nathan gets to pick. All right?
Okay.
Give it a sec. I had to use my Google thing, and it might be.
You're
There we go.
accessing the bypass.
16.
Oh,
Even. 16.
I win, which means that I am going with a most even Pokemon, Eevee.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Right off the bat, I knew that if I won this quick coin toss, I would want to go with Eevee over Pikachu because I learned the hard way last time around not to go with a Pokemon that has a natural typing advantage over water type Pokemon.
Sure.
Let's just talk about Eevee. Let's just talk about the cutie pie that is this normal Pokemon. A lot of people will tell you about how great Eevee's various evolutions are, and make no mistake, they're all great. Umbreon, Espeon, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Leafeon, Glaceon, and Sylveon. I hope, Nathan, that you took note of all those evolutions I was able to note, being the Pokemon master that I am. However, Eevee himself on his own is just a good boy. He has access to a whole variety of different moves, from Shadow Wall to Dig to Double Edge to just so much, using powerful moves like, for example, Stored Power, which is a Psychic type move that raises in strength with each of his stats raised. He can actually become quite the competitive force. There were actually some strategies that were employed back during the Gen 7 days that used him to great effect in the actual kind of competitive scene. And ultimately, he's just one of those Pokemon that, you know, much like Cyndaquil, you just sort of want to cuddle up, take into your arms, just, you know, slowly hold him around and think wistfully about your life and about this beautiful creature that you have in your arms. But the moment that danger approaches, you know that you can rely on him to take care of business.
Yeah. That's a good point. Very good point. I'm looking at this list. I think because of all the options that you have when you pick Eevee, of all the evolutions. Personally, I really like Umbreon. Umbreon's a good choice, in my opinion. I like the dark type. But the fact that anybody could get the chance to do that, to pick the type that they wanted to build towards. If there's a gap in their team, that they've already grown attached to. They could take an Eevee and make it the one that would complete their entire team. So I think Eevee needs to go in at number 3 above Rowlet. I think that makes sense.
Man, nothing could beat those top 2 water type Pokemon.
It's weird. Yeah, like the science on this is
impossibly
sometimes
unbelievable.
this is just how it works out sometimes.
Oh no, Cozy's in the lead.
Yeah. Just gonna that.
Not a problem.
Then Eevee goes here at number 3. Okay, Nathan. Unfortunately, you kind of got stuck with Odd there. So now I need to know why. The most iconic Pokemon in the world, the one that everybody knows and loves, is one of the best starters for this list.
Well, I'd like to start off with a passage from a famous poet.
Sure.
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with this poet. His name is I believe it's Ashimamum Ketchum.
Ashimamum? Yep. I'm familiar with Ashimamum.
Yep. So this is part of a passage. So it's not like the entire thing.
Real concern for a second there. You were going to say Ryan Reynolds.
Pokemon's gotta catch 'em all. Pikachu. Pokemon's catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, you're my best friend. In a world we must defend.
I'm pretty sure Ash Ketchum did not sing the theme song to the Pokemon anime.
You don't know this. Maybe it's canon that I'm saying it is. Anyways, so we are talking about Pokemon. And when you think about Pokemon, it's intrinsically tied to the anime itself. And there's no question about that. And who is that starter in that show? It's Pikachu. And not only is Pikachu the starter in that show, it's his very first Pokemon. It gets mentioned in the theme song, but then let's back this up even a little bit further. Pikachu was so iconic that they gave him his own game in Pokemon Yellow. No other Pokemon starter Pokemon was able to get a game and come back as a starter of that main game.
Let's go Eevee.
That doesn't count. That's not in the
Why
main
not?
generations.
Why not?
Also, Eevee's not in the theme song, is he?
Oh, also, what about Magikarp Jump, huh?
So Pikachu, without question, should actually be number 1. And I know I'm very partial towards Squirtle myself, and Totodile, one of my favorites. Totodile, I believe I'm saying that right.
Pokemon Legends
personal
Arceus.
favorite of mine.
Pokemon Legends Arceus, another Pokemon that got a game all to himself.
He's not a starter in that game. But Pikachu should be at number 1. And it's not even like a question. If we put a list on the internet of our top ranked starters and we didn't put Pikachu at number 1, the entire internet might blow up. Twitter would die. If we don't do this, Twitter's going to die, AJ. Do you want Twitter to die?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, kind of.
Well.
Yeah, kind of.
Lame. That didn't work in my favor.
No.
Anyways, Pikachu should be at number 1. That's all I'm saying.
Pikachu is the most iconic Pokemon out there, and everybody knows and loves Pikachu. Sometimes I feel like the world is just oversaturated with Pikachu. Pikachu in general Great Pokemon. Evolves into Raichu, Alolan Raichu.
Well, he
if
doesn't
you
want to evolve into Raichu.
Yeah, not in the show, not that specific Pikachu. But some Pikachu sometimes Pikachu has to evolve. Just like sometimes an Eevee has to evolve. And it takes a stone to do it. So your argument of, do I want the internet to explode? I think I have to be the evolution I want to see in the world, Nathan. I think I have to have a couple of thunderstones of my own to do what's right and put Pikachu in his place. Off the list at number 12.
Yes! Yes! I did it! I just very, very barely managed to defeat Nathan's army of water-type Pokemon and Pikachu and claim victory.
Amazing. Well fought, Cozy.
Wait a minute,
It
hold
was
on.
not looking good for you there, but
Shouldn't
you
it-
pulled it through in the end.
Shouldn't it be 29 to 27? There we go.
Weird how that happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
something went fucky there.
I was going to say, I'm happy that I won, but I didn't want it to be like an unfairly disproportionate victory. Because I am a
In all
humble
fairness-
person and a Pokemon master, as we can all
That
agree.
was way closer than it should have been for you.
Yeah.
I mean, the best battles are the ones that are hard fought.
Sometimes, you know what? This is how the points just happen to work out sometimes. So, unfortunately.
Man.
So, just kind of going over our top 10 list here. Number 10 is Snivy. Number 9 is Cyndaquil. Number 8 is Sobble. Number 7 is Quaxley. Number 6 is Piplup. Number 5 is Poplio. Number 4 is Rowlet. Number 3 is Eevee. Number 2 is Squirtle. And number 1 is the best boy of all generations, Mr. Totodile. Congrats, everybody, for listening
Hooray.
this far. I don't know how you did it. Somehow.
I'd like to think that I have something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. All I know is I think you guys made a mistake by putting me in charge of that list. So yeah. Any closing thoughts that you'd like to share before we wrap up the show here?
No. I'm hoping that Pokemon... We did not actually talk all that much about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet themselves. I'm very shocked that the Pokemon Company has unveiled a new mainline Pokemon game this early. I said ahead of time I didn't want them to do so because I want them to really kind of take their time to really kind of refine the series formula and come back stronger than ever. Alas, this is what they're doing, and I wish the game's the best. I'll, of course, be checking them out, but I can't say I'm as excited as I could be.
How about you, Nathan?
Not
just about Pokemon, but just in general.
I've nothing to say about Pokemon anymore. I'm out talked on Pokemon.
Okay.
My bullshit meter for Pokemon's out my mouth. But I said last week I'd be watching the finale of Peacemaker. I watched the finale of Peacemaker. It's the best show of this year. I haven't even seen the rest of the shows this year. Peacemaker is the best show that you can watch this year. Go watch it if you haven't watched it.
Have you watched The Legends of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime?
That does not sound like something that I've done. No.
You should consider doing that. It's a very good show.
Okay.
Anyway, you're
I'll
going to
check
say
it out.
something?
Peacemaker still do one. Please give me a subscribe on _NMac on Twitch. I'd really love to have followers and to be able to get my count up a bit quicker. So if you've enjoyed any of the content I've given to you over the past 2 years, it's been 2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
It has.
Please just give me a follow there. I don't have a lot of followers right now, and I do want to get that up and running off the ground. So yeah, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Speaking of followers and the content that you've been on, Nathan, you appeared on a certain podcast not too long ago that's not Press YYZ.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I was in a podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
I should plug them. Xbox A. Believe it or not, I was on an Xbox podcast. Can you believe that, AJ?
What? The
Unbelievable.
PS4 guy, the guy who sometimes does reviews for PS4blog.net.
Actually, maybe I should announce I've stopped doing that as well.
Oh, congrats. How come? Too busy?
Busy, burnt out.
Fair.
I've been doing it for almost 10 years for that site.
Oh, wow.
I love the people there. I've been doing it since like 2013. I love the people. The past year and a half, 2 years. Unfortunately for me, it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against them. I got a lot of good experience out of it. But between my job ramping up with the new role I've taken earlier this year, and wanting to focus on the podcast and streaming specifically, I basically stopped doing that. So, but yeah, no. What was I saying? So yeah, so I was on an Xbox podcast. We discussed it's Xbox A, if you're not familiar. Court, who's a friend of the show and has been on the show.
It's Xbox EH.
Yeah, Xbox A. I know when I first heard it, I thought it was Xbox and the letter A, and I didn't get it. But it's a Canadian Xbox podcast. Really worth your time listening to. Both Matt and Court are two of the hardest working guys I know. They put out regular video content as well as do a weekly podcast. They have a daily video that goes up. So they're worth checking out. Both very, very great. I know Matt's going to be streaming WWE 2K20 on his channel, which he's trying to get up and running as well.
Cool.
But we discussed streaming services or subscription services and Forza, which is kind of why I was on the show, for their Series 5 update that's coming up, which I'll probably discuss next week once I get a chance to actually play it. But yeah, it was a great episode. Check those guys out. Give them a follow. They are worth it. A great group of guys. They've had some really good podcasts and a lot of great guests. So.
Yeah, Court's part of that, right?
Yes.
Court Lalonde? Yeah.
Court Lalonde and Matt from Assemble. So he does a lot of comic content as well.
Court was on our show a few months back at this point.
I think it was late December or early January.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. We were talking about Forza. We were talking about Halo.
And he was also on the 12-hour live stream as well. He played golf with us.
Yeah, he did pop in there for a little bit and played some of that golf game with us.
Yes.
So,
so he's a great guy. Just give him a follow. They do great work. I can't speak highly enough. I like, honestly, the gumption and motivation that both of those two gentlemen have dwarf. Like, I can only hope I can have an ounce of what they're able to put together.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting sleepy. Cozy, I noticed on our shared screen here that you're sharing with us. Were you on a podcast yourself at some point?
Yes, I appeared on the gaming podcast Respawning Fire to talk a little bit about Quantum Break. You might recall how not last month, but the month before that, in January, I played through this game. And so I came on this podcast to talk about it with Chad and Adam. We had a great time, and it was a relatively short cast at about an hour or so. So if you wanted to hear more extensive thoughts on Quantum Break than what I shared on the podcast back in January, go and check it out. And also, for whatever reason, my camera was ever so slightly tilted during the recording of this episode. Not to an egregious degree, but if watching the podcast you feel like you're getting a little bit drunk, don't worry, you're not getting drunk. It's just that my camera is tilted.
I mean, you might still be getting drunk, but that won't be the reason.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's going to do it. Thanks, Cozy. Thanks, Nathan. And thank you for tuning in to Press YYZ. If you enjoyed this broadcast, be sure to follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube, and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can also check us out on Twitter at Press YYZ and slide into our Discord at invite.gg/PressYYZ to keep the conversation going. until next time, stand with Ukraine.